Park rangers are trained to ignore certain things in the forest, and sometimes, they're directly told not to investigate at all.
All units be advised.
Across the
Unidentified movement
U.S.
near the old
National
logging
Park
road.
system,
Proceed with
there are
caution.
reports that never make it into official logs. Incidents that are written down, then quietly removed. Calls that come in, then get shut down before anyone can respond. What you're about to hear isn't officially confirmed, but it comes from patterns, ranger accounts, internal conversations, and details that don't quite line up. The first incident happened in late October, near a remote trail in a national park in the Pacific Northwest. A ranger was doing a routine patrol just before sunset. The trail was mostly empty, with only one vehicle left in the parking area. That wasn't unusual. Some hikers stay late. But as the ranger walked further in, something felt off. No insects. No wind. The kind of silence that makes you stop without realizing it. About half a mile in, he found a backpack sitting upright in the middle of the trail. Not dropped. Not tossed. Placed. Inside were normal things. Water. Snacks. A map with a route clearly marked. The strange part was the radio call that came next. Dispatch told him to leave the area immediately. No follow-up. No search initiated. When he asked why, the response was just static,
This is an
then
order to
silence.
leave the sector immediately.
The
Evacuate.
backpack was
We are
gone the
moving out
next
now.
morning. The second report came from a desert park in the southwest. A group of hikers called in just before
I'm
dusk.
telling you, the map clearly shows
They
the
said they
shortcut
could
right over
hear
there.
someone
A
calling
shortcut,
for
are you
help
sure about that? It
somewhere
looks like a
off
sheer
trail.
drop.
He's right, it doesn't look
The
safe.
voice sounded weak, repeating the same phrase over and over. One of the hikers tried to follow it, but something didn't make sense. No matter which direction they moved, the voice didn't get closer. It stayed the same distance away. Same tone. Same volume. Like it wasn't tied to a real location. A ranger was dispatched but was stopped halfway there. The call was marked as resolved without explanation. The hikers later said the voice stopped all at once. Not faded, just stopped. As if it had been turned off. No missing person was ever reported in that area. The third
Dispatch, I'm
incident
seeing movement near
involved
the
a
old
fire
mill.
lookout
Requesting
tower in
immediate
a forest
confirmation.
in Montana.
Over.
During a night shift, a ranger stationed in the tower radioed in something unusual. He said he could see a light moving through the trees, far below. That wasn't strange on its own, sometimes people hike after dark. But the light wasn't moving like a person. It would stop completely for long stretches, then suddenly appear several yards away. No gradual movement. No transition. The ranger tried to track it with binoculars. At one point, the light went out completely. Then, a few seconds later, it reappeared, much closer to the tower than it should have been. He reported hearing something outside shortly after. Not footsteps. Just a soft scraping sound, circling the base of the structure. He was told to stay inside and not respond. The next morning, there were no tracks. No signs anyone had been there. The fourth case is where things start to shift. In a heavily wooded park in the eastern U.S., a ranger was assigned to check on a series of trail cameras that had gone offline. These cameras were placed in remote sections, mainly to monitor wildlife. Losing one or two signals wasn't unusual. But all of them going down at once, that was different. When the ranger reached the first camera, he found it still mounted, still intact. But it wasn't recording. The battery was fully drained. Not low, completely dead. The second camera was the same. Then the third. At the fourth location, something changed. The camera wasn't facing the trail anymore. It had been turned around, pointing directly into the forest behind it. The ranger checked the last recorded footage. For several minutes, nothing happened. Just trees, moving slightly in the wind. Then, without warning, every sound in the recording cut out. No birds. No leaves. No ambient noise at all. And then the footage ended. No one could explain why all the cameras failed at the same time. But one report changed how rangers patrol these areas forever. The fifth incident involved a search and rescue team in a national park in Colorado. A solo hiker had been reported missing after failing to return from a short-day hike. The trail was simple. Well marked. No dangerous terrain. The search began the next morning. Within hours, they found footprints leading off the trail. That part made sense. People wander. But the pattern didn't. The footprints moved in a straight line, deeper into the forest. No hesitation. No signs of confusion. Just a consistent pace. Then they stopped. Not gradually. Not turning around. Just stopped. As if the person had simply disappeared mid-step. There were no drag marks. No signs of struggle. No additional tracks leading away. The search was called off early. Officially due to lack of evidence. Unofficially, one ranger mentioned that this wasn't the first time they'd seen something like that. The sixth story comes from Alaska.
Foxtrot 7, can you hear me?
A ranger stationed near a glacial region reported something during a routine radio check. He said he could hear another transmission cutting in and out over his channel. That wasn't uncommon in remote areas. But the voice on the other end sounded familiar. It was his own. Repeating standard check-in phrases. Same tone. Same pacing.
Radio check.
Slightly distorted, but recognizable. He tried to respond, but the signal kept interrupting
Visibility is dropping fast. I'm at the
talking
ridge
over
line.
him,
The signal keeps...
mirroring his words just seconds after he said them. Then it started speaking before he did,
The ice bridge is unstable.
predicting his responses. The transmission ended abruptly. When he reported it, he was told to switch channels and continue his shift. The incident was never
We
logged.
lost contact. It's getting closer.
The final case is the one that still comes up in quiet conversations between rangers. It happened in a restricted section of a large national park. An area not open to the public. No marked trails. No official reason for visitors to be there. A ranger on patrol noticed a figure standing at the edge of a clearing, just beyond the tree line. That alone was enough to raise concern. He approached slowly, calling out. No response. The figure didn't move.
Ranger
As he
Department.
got closer, something
Who's out
became
there?
clear. The person wasn't facing him. They were facing into the forest, standing completely still. The ranger stopped about 20 yards away. That's when the figure moved. Not turning, not stepping, just shifting. From one position to another, slightly to the left. No visible motion between. Just one frame to the next. The ranger radioed it in. The response came back immediately. Leave the area. Do not engage. He hesitated for a second too long. Because
Base, this is
in that
Ranger
moment,
Daniels.
the figure
I need
turned its
immediate
head,
backup at the north marker.
not its
Something's
body,
wrong.
just the head. And even from that distance, the ranger could tell, something about it wasn't right. He left the area. No report was filed. No follow-up was conducted. But weeks later, another ranger passed through the same clearing. And found footprints. Not leading in. Not leading out. Just a single set, standing in one place. And according to some rangers, this still happens.